for us. Thank
Thank you, Madam Host. And I just want to welcome everybody to this webinar and thank you, you guys all for coming. I would just like to first start by sharing my screen, and I just want to ask the technician to enable me to share my screen. Technician in the background. Yeah, while waiting for the technician, I just want to thank Loving Care and Domsa for giving me this opportunity to speak. Let me just see a moment. I'll share my screen now. Yeah, so I will start by talking about the medical laboratory science field in Canada and the US, and then after that, I'm going to go into exactly the requirements that are needed, and I'll try to focus especially in the international scene, international students, rather than students that are based in these countries. So I am based in Canada, and I will start my presentation with giving some of the highlights about what you need to be able to study medical laboratory sciences in Canada. Yeah, so in Canada, the medical laboratory science field is being regulated by the CSMLS, and in full is the Canadian Society for Medical Laboratory Sciences. Yeah, so in order to work in Canada, you have to become certified by this board. So you need to write an exam. And I mean, there are two basic paths that you can take before you sit in for these exams. And as I tell you, I'm going to concentrate most on the international scene because I know my audience is mainly from Cameroon, and probably there are a lot of people who are aspiring to study medical laboratory sciences. So, as you see, if you have been educated or you're trained as a medical laboratory science or technologist outside of Canada, you need to have your experience assessed through a prior learning assessment. So there's a board called the PLA in Canada, or a path that has to assess your credentials if you are an international a worker or somebody who studied medical laboratory sciences out of Canada. Yeah, so if you want to come into Canada, you have a path that you can take. You don't necessarily need to start from scratch. So you can have your credentials assessed by this PLA. Um, and this PLA is a board that was constituted by the medical corps here in Canada. Now, we are talking about medical laboratory sciences. There are a lot of different appellations that are usually used when it comes to medical laboratory sciences. At times, you hear MLS, you hear MLT, you hear CLS, MLS for medical laboratory science, MLT for medical laboratory technology, and CLS for clinical laboratory sciences. So I would like to base now on the difference between these words. So what is the difference between all of this? Technically, there is no difference. All of these things are used to refer to the same group of people or to the same group of workers. And some of it is just based on history. Yeah, some of them were used earlier before, and as time went on, some other ones were used, and also some of them are used by other organizations or other government bodies, while some other government bodies use other appellations or some other provinces or countries. But all of them are the same thing, and especially in the USA, there was um, there was a merge by the board that governs the award of credentials in MLS or MLT or CLS. So when they merged, they decided to come under one umbrella, and everything was being referred to as medical laboratory sciences to include MLTs and CLS. So the only difference with these careers is a medical laboratory technician. So a technician is a lower category than all of this, and usually has to take a smaller number of courses, or does not take as much education as an MLS or an MLT or a CLS will do. So there is basically no difference between these words. Now, as I earlier talked about the PLA. Now, the PLA, if you come into Canada as a foreign trained medical laboratory scientist, general medical laboratory technology, you have clinical genetics, you have diagnostic cytology, and medical laboratory assistance. So if you have a certificate in any of these fields of study and you intend changing it in Canada, it is possible. But if you have out of this, it will not be possible for you to follow the PLA path. Then you have to follow another path, which is going back to school to do some education. Now, if you have little or no experience or education in more than one of these required disciplines as listed above, then you'll be eligible to write, you'll not be eligible to write the CSML exam, as I just mentioned. So that is what I was talking about. This is just a summary. It's not so clear, but I hope most of you will be able to see it. It's just a summary that actually describes what I've just been talking about. So if you have to be eligible for the PLA path, as an internationally trained medical laboratory scientist, you have to first, the first one, you have to have your education in one of those fields that I just mentioned above. I hope you're taking note. And then you need to have those credentials reviewed. So the board is going to review your prior learning assessment. Um, you have to submit it and they review it. And once they review it, if they need, at times they will need additional courses or need you to do some additional courses because maybe they think that your certificate is not up to their standards. So in that case, you have to follow a learning path, which is down there. So when you follow that learning path, you take a few courses and then you have to do the challenge, which is the exams. So when you take the exams now, you'll be certified as a medical laboratory scientist in Canada. Now, there is a board in Canada that governs, that regulates all the medical field, and it's called the EQUAL. So the EQUAL is a Canadian-based body that regulates medical field, especially medical laboratory education programs in Canada. And to be eligible to write the exam, you have to be accredited by this organization. So prior learning assessment, candidates to be eligible to write the exam, candidate must have successfully completed the CSMLS prior learning assessment process that I just mentioned above before the EQUAL, you can qualify to write the EQUAL. So and before doing that, once you submit your documents, they assess it and they see that you're eligible, they will give you some kind of certificate or approval. And it's that approval that you have to present to the examination board before you'll be qualified to sit in for that examination. Now, the entry into an accredited training program in medical laboratory sciences is dependent on a high school diploma with an emphasis on, I would like you to say this, there's an emphasis on biology, computer science, chemistry, and math. So this is the second path I was talking about. The first path I talked about is, if you can remember, is for people who have certificates internationally in medical laboratory sciences. So those who don't have certificates in medical laboratory sciences and still want to practice as medical laboratory scientists in Canada will have to follow this path and they'll have to go to school. Before you are admitted in school, you need to have, they will assess you on these subjects. And I'm saying this because I know of a couple of students, who have struggled to get admission into Canada, and every time they're being refused because admission in Canada is very competitive. And in order to qualify, or if you have people who are aspiring to qualify, you really need to tell them to emphasize on this. In the advanced level and ordinary level, you need to actually have biology, computer science, chemistry, and math, and you need good grades. It's usually a minimum of a B. You need an A or a B. So you really have to emphasize on these grades. If not, probably they usually ask you to rewrite these subjects back in your country, or at times they might still admit you, but you have to come here and you do these courses as prerequisites before you'll be admitted to continue your training. So it's the easiest way to do is just to make sure you do your best, you work very hard to upgrade before coming. Otherwise, you have to do additional courses. Now, so once you have graduated from your post-secondary training education, you need to write the national certification exam to be certified by the Canadian Society for Medical Laboratory Sciences. Yeah, so this one is the path. If you actually qualify for school, they have assessed you and you have very good grades in biology, chemistry, computer science, physics, and so on. Once they assess that and you're eligible, you will just be able to write the exam immediately after you complete your education in medical laboratory sciences. So this certification allows you to work as a medical laboratory professional throughout Canada. It is the accepted certification by regulators in most provinces and seen as a requirement of employment by most employers. So for those who know what a federal state is all about, it's a little bit different from a unitary state. That's what Canada is all about. Canada and US are federal states. So a federal state is just like different countries that come together. So each of the provinces in Canada and the US, they have their own provincial laws or territorial laws, and there is also a federal law. So each province is able to determine certain things. So by writing the certification, it is not a guarantee that you will be employed in every province. That's both in Canada and US. There are usually some additional requirements that might be required by other provinces. So you might have to do a little bit more. For example, this province might say that no, we need you to do. You must have an A in math or an A in English, or you must have a certificate in this before you admit you. So those laws they differ depending on the province in which you are. So before migrating to Canada or the US, you actually need to be able to find out exactly about the territorial laws that govern medical laboratory sciences where you want to go and live, for you can be better informed. So that is about Canada. Now in the United States, let's get a brief summary of what you need uh, to do before you study medical laboratory sciences in the United States. So you need a degree in any life science subject anywhere. Now, the United States is a little bit more liberal than Canada when it comes to the medical field. So they are not as stringent as Canadians. So if you have a degree in any a science field anywhere, you'll be able to practice as a medical laboratory scientist in the United States. But that is with some condition. You need to meet some prerequisites, and this is what we are about to see now. So you have some prerequisite courses at the university level that you need to have in your home country, and this is what I've just put in stars. If you look here, you see that you have medical microbiology, immunology, physics, and hematology. So in the United States, these are the basic requirements that you need to have at the university level before you will be admitted to, if you have a bachelor's degree, you need to have these courses before you'll be able to be admitted to write the medical laboratory science exams. So if you have this, then you can sit, you can apply. to any MLS program. So, and there too, as I told you, any state has their own rules that is different from one state to another. For me, I'm more versed with the laws in California because I've been there a couple of times. So I work with a lot of MLS there. So in California, for example, you have to apply for a CLS trainee license. That's once you have a university degree in sciences, any science field. It can be biochemistry, it can be environmental science, it can be microbiology, it can be whatever. So once you have it and with these subjects, then you'll be qualified to apply for a trainee license. So then after this, after you apply for the training license and you accept it, you will then be allowed to apply for an internship program. So these programs are usually 1 year course in California. So you take a course for 1 year that you go and you do back a couple of courses with other students in the school before. After you finish the course in 1 year, the American Society of Clinical Pathologists. So this exam, this ASCP exam, is what is accepted all over the United States. So United States is a federal country. Each province or each territory, they have their own exams, but ASCP is accepted all over the United States. So if as an immigrant, if you want to start, I think the easiest way to start is by going for the ASCP because like microbiology, immunology, physics, and hematology. You can always take the courses in the university. I mean, in 1 or 2. So if you have the ASCP, as I said, you can work in any of the provinces in the United States. But at times, some have yeah rules, you know. Now, uh, so if you school in the United States and you have a degree in MLS and you prove that you've done internship or have worked for 1 year, you can apply directly to the ASCP board. So what I was talking about is the first part. So in the United States, you have two paths that you can follow as well. The first part is if you come with a degree in sciences or in life sciences, you can follow the path above just by either you have those subjects or you upgrade to those subjects, and after that you write the ASCP. Or if you don't have that, or if you come like with an advanced level, or if you want to go back to school, you can then go back to school, and after that you have to do an internship, which you be able to apply directly to the ASCP board to write the exams. Um, Now, these exams are often not as difficult as many people think, and most of the time, the testing is being done in these fields that I just mentioned above. So the testing is being done in medical microbiology or medical mycology, hematology, and the other ones. And the medical technologies, these are some of the rules that you need as a foreigner, or if you have a degree in the United States to follow. So the medical technologies must possess at least a bachelor degree or a foreign equivalent in medical technology or closely related field. And secondly, the medical technologies must have their education credential verified through CGFNS. That's their own board that verifies the certificates, just like the PLA in Canada. And thirdly, the medical technologies must obtain a visa screen certificate, that's type 1 certificate through CGFNS. So in this case, this is like a medical technology. At times, you can qualify directly from your home country without writing an exam. there is a special in the this is the case of the United States. There's a special kind of visa that is called the H-1B visa, which if you apply through that visa and you are a qualified medical laboratory scientist in your country, you can come directly like that and work. Or if you come, they might just give you 1 to 2 courses to take before you qualify. So the last point I have here is the medical technologist must obtain a state medical technologist license or clinical laboratory technologist license or clinical laboratory scientist license or a letter of eligibility to obtain a state license on the H-1B visa is approved. So this one is being done in your country before you come as a medical laboratory scientist. You actually apply for this visa and you have to be approved before you come, and then you do your certification or you start working depending on what the situation is. Now, to summarize, um, aspiring medical laboratory scientists should first take a relevant course during high school that will prepare the students. So this is important, and I'm really emphasizing on this because a lot of our brothers and sisters back home in Cameroon or in Africa, they really want to study abroad, but at times when they're in high school, they really don't know what to do or they don't know how to prepare themselves. It's only when they finish that they see how difficult it is for them to get admissions, especially into Canada and the US. So you have to start talking to them to prepare themselves. Make sure that they prepare themselves very well by scoring very high in ordinary level biology, physics, and maths, computer science, and whatever, all the science field. And also in the advanced level, it is being assessed in both levels. That's the most important step. Now, the most expeditious route to earning the MLS certificate is to ensure that one's bachelor's degree program is a national accrediting agency for clinical laboratory sciences accredited. So you have to make sure that it is within that level. That's just what I'm talking about. You make sure that you have the quality you need for that board to give you that accreditation. The second one is you have to successfully complete an NAACLS accredited program that qualifies the student to sit for the MLS certification exam within 5 years of graduation. So in this case, this is a case where you go to school in the US. So when you go to school in the US and then you take those courses that are required, you have to submit your application to this board, and the board is going to look at those courses, and if they qualify you, you'll be able to sit for that exams within 5 years of graduation from that school. So graduates of other programs may also be eligible, but must meet additional requirements, including experience required that can add significance to the timeline for becoming certified. So this is what I was talking about, that it is not only professionals in medical laboratory technology that can be medical laboratory technology. So other scientific fields, especially life sciences, if you have certain courses, you are qualified for that. So you have to earn a medical laboratory technician certification, and these are some of the requirements in the United States. So if you earn a medical laboratory technician certification, you can complete 2 years of qualifying clinical laboratory experience. This is what we call internship. So by having that, you can still qualify. So another one is if you gain 5 years of full-time acceptable clinical laboratory experience. So this is points that are on the slide right now are for people who have degrees or certificates in other fields apart from medical laboratory sciences or apart from life sciences. So if you have that, you can still go through this path. The first one I said there is to earn a medical laboratory technician certification and complete 2 years of qualifying clinical laboratory experience. The second thing you can do is to gain 5 years of full-time acceptable clinical laboratory experience. So you gain that if you have any hospital or any clinic that can accept you for 5 years, yeah, you can do it. So another one is to hold a now discontinued CLA certification and complete 4 years of qualifying clinical laboratory experience. Another one is to complete a 50-week US military medical laboratory training course and have 1 year of work experience. So next one, if you hold an MT, the MT is still MLT or MLS certification and have 5 years of qualifying lab experience. So if you have another life science field, another field that is not life sciences, you can always use some of this part. But if you look critically, you see that they are longer than the other ones. So that notwithstanding, um, I just want to thank you all, and I would like to let you know that my experience has taken me to work in so many different fields, and as I consider myself like a multidisciplinary scientist. So I started my bachelor's degree in the University of Boya. I started with biochemistry, but then my love to work for the laboratory made me to switch later on to microbiology. So I graduated, and when I graduated from the University of Boya, I then realized that I loved my environment. The environment was not so clean for me, and I wanted to bring a change. So I decided to take another degree in environmental engineering. So I just want to let you know that by having a bachelor's degree in any field or any scientific field doesn't prevent you from doing or changing fields in the future. So it's always, you can always change, but there are always, at times there are always some additional courses you need to take. So I have a master's degree in environmental engineering, and I specialize in water pollution. So when I graduated from there, I've done a lot of international work. I work for a lot of NGOs. I do a lot of contracts around for NGOs, and I do work in public health, mostly in water hygiene and sanitation. So I go all over the world I design a lot of water treatment systems and hygiene and sanitation facilities like the toilets, and I also design hygiene programs. So my last travel was I went to Tigray in Ethiopia, where there is a war in the war-torn region, and there I was providing a lot of water to refugees and the communities, and we're building refugee camps and things like that. So that is some of the work I do. And apart from doing that, I'm also a philanthropist. So when I'm going there, I have a lot of partners that I try to galvanize aid for this population. So I have a trust fund in Malawi. I was in Malawi sometimes in 2017. I did a project there, a very good water project, and I carried out a lot of philanthropy there, and I'm still sending a lot of stuff to Malawi. So I work like even right to US. I was in US like 2 weeks ago for another assignment. When it was, during COVID, I was in Italy. I was in Portugal. I was in the US to help with the situation there. And I also produce music. I'm sure I'll ask Dr. Bawe to share some of the music I've been producing on your forum each time. So yesterday we had a meeting with one of your people from Donga and Mantung, and we'll be producing a music soon with one of my artists. So I just want to thank you all. And also, I'm a project manager as well. I have a diploma in project management and also a diploma in agile project management. And also, I have a diploma in uh, geographic information system for environmental management. So I do a lot of GIS too, like cartography, mapping out stuff and things like that. So I just want to thank you guys for listening, and I want to thank God for making me who I am. And at this point, I would like to give the floor to you guys. If there are any questions, I would like to answer them. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We are happy having you tonight. And please, I would just love to read some few questions that were sent here so that you can help us and answer those questions. All right. The first question we have here is that um are there any scholarship opportunities available for international students? That's the first question. This will just
Uh,
love that you should answer.
Thank you. I would just like to answer question by question. There are always
Okay.
scholarships available. And I want to thank the person who asked that question because it has actually opened my mind to something that I forgot to tell you. Now, there is this university in Canada, the University of Ottawa, that's the capital of Canada. This university offers uh, 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 scholarships to international students who can learn in both English and French. So if you have somebody who is bilingual and can study nursing, for example, it's a nursing program in both English and French, this is a very big opportunity for them because when they come, if you know how nursing school fees are very expensive in North America, you know what I'm talking about. It's almost in the 30,000 to 40,000 or 20 something thousand dollars. But there's this university in Canada, University of Ottawa. University of Ottawa. I'm just repeating it so that people can write it down. If you go and look at their nursing program and you are very bilingual, they're going to give you a scholarship. Once you apply there, it's a direct scholarship. And then they will drop down your school fees. I think it's to about, I can't remember exactly, but your school fees will be dropped down to about 2,000 or $3,000, which is very minimal. Now, if you study, I would like to let you know that nurses and medical laboratory personnel are in very high demand in Canada and the US. So when you study nursing or medical arts sciences here, there are always high chances that you can easily be employed here. So about scholarships, yes, there are scholarships, but if you want if I have to tell you that these scholarships are easy to get, I will say no. They're not as easy as you think that anybody can just go online and apply for this scholarship. Most of the scholarships are usually sponsored by governments. So the government institutions, like the Ministry of Health, those ones that have scholarships that they can easily send nurses to go and study. But ordinary people like me and you, it's going to be very difficult to just have scholarships to study. Most of the scholarships are given to students who are already admitted in these colleges. Means if you have an admission and you start studying, there are a lot of scholarships that you can apply for, and if you qualify, they'll be given to you. But from the point of Cameroon, it will be very difficult. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. I think that point is clear. The answer is clear, and the next question here is TOEFL and IELTS language proficiencies a requirement? I
Yes,
think
it
that's
is
the next question here.
yes, it is a requirement. That is something I forgot to mention. Now, Cameroon is not considered as in Canada is not considered as an English-speaking country. So if you have to study in an English university in Canada, you have to write an English exam. It can be one of those. And also, you don't have to just write it because you want to write it. You need to write it to pass it with a minimum score of about at least 6.5 over 10, but you don't have to have 6.5. So if I have to advise you for those who want to travel, I want to take the exam, make sure you have a minimum score of about 8 or 7 over 10, because there are certain schools that take the least school in Canada takes 6.5 over 10. So you don't want to be hanging on the line. And most of them take 7. So in order to be on the safe side, you have to have at least 7 or 8 before you can be considered for admission. So yes, it is a requirement.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. And the next question is that what assistance can you provide to DOMSA, medical lab students, and graduates who wish to pursue a career in MLS in Canada? That's the next question.
Do you mean me as a person? Is that question asking
Yeah,
like me as a person?
yeah, I think the question is coming to you in person.
Okay, what I have to offer, I have my expertise to offer because I do a lot of I do assist students who want to apply for admission. So I have a lot of knowledge about these admissions and things like that and visa processes. So the only help I can give is to give advice on what you need or what is required or what usually causes visa refusal. I know all of those things, so I can assist you with some of those information, so that you should be able to know exactly what you have to put in your file before you apply for a visa.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I think these are all the questions we have tonight, and we wish to appreciate you for your time and for enlightening us this evening. So thank you very much.
Okay, without much ado, if there's no other question, I just want to thank you as well. And I thank Domsa, and I want to say that I like the work you have been doing. I've gone through your YouTube channel and I've seen everything you guys have been doing, and keep up the good work. You shall get there someday. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the compliment.
Yeah, I'm done.